One of the most common misconceptions people possess is the idea that humans have instincts. We'll often talk about a mother instinctively loving her child or a person instinctively defending themselves from harm. Sociology insists, however, that humans do not have any instincts, and all of our behaviors, to some extent, are learned and shaped within a culture. While we are born with genetically determined talents, reflexes, and intelligence levels, those are not the same as instincts and do not result in any particular behavior. Since this is one of the lessons that students often have the most difficulty accepting, I'll explain more fully what we mean.
One of the problems is that the term instinct is loosely used in our culture without reference to its actual definition. An instinct is a fixed behavior pattern that is enacted as a whole and runs to completion. As such, they are not subject to thought or conscious control. An example of an instinct can be seen in monarch butterflies. At a certain time each year, they all leave North America and fly thousands of miles to Mexico, arriving in a small region to reproduce. It isn't a choice and it isn't learned. They don't go to butterfly school or get handed a map by their parents. The flight south is a genetically determined action. The same concept can be seen in my parents' dog, a German short-hair pointer. It's a bird dog that has never been taught to hunt, but when it sees a bird in the backyard, it automatically goes into a crouch and slowly sneaks up on the bird, pointing with its nose. It is operating on instinct. In contrast to butterflies and dogs, it is impossible to prove that humans have any instincts. For example, despite our common assumption, large differences in the way motherhood is practiced disprove the idea that motherhood or parenting is an instinct. There are mothers who murder their children, abandon their children, neglect their children, and don't love all their children equally. Some women, after giving birth, want nothing to do with their baby. And the most common form of birth control throughout human history has been killing unwanted infants. Motherhood and parenting are actually learned behaviors, as revealed by our very real tendency to parent in the way we were parented. Neither do humans have a survival instinct. If we did, humans would not be able to commit suicide, which is a uniquely human behavior. Anorexics will literally starve themselves to death, which would not be possible if they possessed an instinct to stay alive. Neither do humans automatically go into a fight or flight response when faced with danger. Some people freeze, some cry. The military makes soldiers go through basic training because there is no guaranteed way that people will respond when faced with live bullets. A study done by the Army during World War II found that less than half of soldiers fired their rifles in combat and were hiding in their foxholes instead. Humans do not have a sexual instinct. Some people have sex frequently, some have sex infrequently, some don't have sex at all. Some people don't like sex. A study of American married couples found that 1/3 had sex 1 to 3 times a week, 1/3 had sex 1 to 3 times a month, and 1/3 had sex 0 to 3 times a year. Similarly, there is no instinct to reproduce or have babies. The desire for children is instilled in people by their society, and the richer a society becomes, the fewer children are produced. Even the urge to eat is not an instinct. You can choose to indulge or not indulge your desire for food. And as I've already said, some people choose to starve. Despite frequent statements to the contrary, alcoholism cannot be proven to be genetically caused. There is no addiction gene. With proper training, You can even exhibit significant control over your sleep patterns, respiration, and heart rate. A German diver holds the world record for holding his breath underwater and can do so for more than 20 minutes. Human babies are born with reflexes, but these are not the same as instincts. Most reflexes disappear before infants become toddlers and do not cause adult behaviors. I have provided a separate link for you to learn more about reflexes. Humans are also born with talents, aptitudes, and an intelligence level. However, these are not instincts since they require social development. If someone does not learn to use a talent or is not given the opportunity to utilize their intelligence, that potential is wasted. They do not automatically lead to any particular behavior. If Mozart had been born in the Congo jungle, he would not have written symphonies. If LeBron James had been born in North Korea and ordered to clean bathrooms, he would have never become a world-class athlete. On the other hand, because your achievements are not solely based on genetic abilities, people can become musicians and athletes even when they do not possess great innate talent. Humans can rise above their genetic inheritance.
Be glad you lack instincts. What small measure of free will or freedom you possess is because your behaviors are not genetically determined or instinctive. Our lack of instinct is why humans have a behavioral autonomy not found anywhere else in the animal kingdom. We are the creatures who learn how to behave within our society and culture.